Okay, let me tell you about Base44 and why I am incredibly bullish on this vibe coding application. For starters, it is the only vibe coding application that is completely vertically integrated in the entire world. And I mean literally the only one. And this, my friends, makes Base44 an app that stands out from the crowd and is completely different from the rest. Now, the vibe coding space is increasingly overcrowded. There's like a new vibe coding app every single day. Everybody's trying to get a piece of the pie, and there's just copycats coming here, left, right, front, and center, right? But no one except MS, the founder of Base44, has thought about the most critical problem that non-technical founders and non-technical vibe coders face, which is the pain it is to start adding multiple integrations and start working with a ton of third parties and different applications to get your app up and running and working. Now, this is probably my favorite thing about Base44, and like I said before, why I think it is so special and so different from the rest. Mainly because you don't have to go and manually set up a database, manually set up authentication, then go and set up and the AI if you want to have image generation in your application, or if you want to have AI auto-generated text and so forth. With all the other vibe coding applications, you have to go and manually integrate them with your vibe coding application, and you have to go to third parties, even for things like email sending, right? Like email sending, you have to go to Resend or Mailgun or one of those things to get your vibe coding app, or what you built with your vibe coding tool, to function properly. With Base44, all of those things are already included. They're already part of it. You don't have to go to a third party to set up email sending, to set up the database, to set up authentication, to set up the AI image generation or AI text creation. None of that. All of that is already baked in and included in Base44. And I love that about Base44. It makes the build product, the build process a lot easier than with all the other vibe coding tools out there. And for me personally, that is a game changer. My good friend Tristan calls this the batteries included approach, or comes with batteries included. And shout out to Tristan. He's an incredible builder and founder, and someone I have learned a lot from. Like, he actually was the first person who ever mentioned the vibe coding term to me. And he was also the first person, by the way, to mention Base44 to me as a founder and as a builder. So, definitely a shout out to Tristan for this. And like I said, it is such an incredible application. You need to try it out. The best way for you to, see and understand what I'm talking about is to actually try it out. Now, it's not just that it's vertically integrated, but it just works. Like, the thing just works. It is also incredibly fast, and you can immediately start playing around with what you build and testing it out. Now, with a lot of the other vibe coding tools out there, even things like deploying, you have to like click a button and get it to deploy. And with Base44, that is like already there. Like, you don't have to click on anything. Another thing that for me stands out is the backend of Base44 when you build your applications in Base44. In all of the other vibe coding tools, you don't have analytics included, like an actual backend of the application. You can't really see in the app that you've built, the users, the analytics, let's say if you're using API, most of them won't have like a vault for secrets and stuff like that. Some of them have some of these things, but none of them have all of it. And not a single one of them has a properly built backend that you can use and see and check and reference when you're building your applications. With Base44, that is actually already included. So for me, for example, like normally when I would be building apps in other vibe coding tools, I would have to, connect the app that I built with say for example, Google Analytics, so I could see the traffic coming into my application. And if I wanted to look at, let's say users, my vibe coding, the apps that I built in other vibe coding tools don't have a backend. So I'd have to go to the database to check, to the database to check, how many users I had and the list of users and so forth. But with Base44, that's already part of the product. That's already baked in. And it kind of seems and sounds like a no-brainer, but nobody else is doing it. Only Base44. And this is an incredible testament, a testament to the incredible work that MS, the founder of Base44, has done on this product. Like, he really understands and gets the key fundamental problem behind building apps with vibe coding, which is the pain around the integrations and getting a ton of different things to work and play together. Now, as a non-technical founder, the last thing I want to do is go to IKEA, and buy a thing and then have to start drilling and manually putting things together so the thing actually works and you can actually use it. I hate that about IKEA. I love going to IKEA, don't get me wrong. I don't have problems with IKEA, but I don't like the process of having to put a gazillion things together and manually doing that. And that's what it feels like with a lot of the vibe coding tools and apps, that you have to kind of like plug and play different things and then go and learn how to set them up, how to configure, the database with Supabase or Firebase or Neon or whatever it is. You have to kind of learn how to set those things up. If you want to then send emails, then you got to go to a Postmail or Mailgun or Resend or one of these things to set up your email sending in the application you built with your vibe coding tool. And again, it might sound like it's not hard, but often it is. And often you have to go through 20, 30, 50 steps to get that thing working. Then you also have to pay for another subscription if you want to have those products and those services like added already into your application that you built with your vibe coding tool. So again, I see that as painful, time consuming, and not something that I really want to be doing on an ongoing and regular basis. Like, let's say you want to add image generation to your vibe coding tool, you got to go and get an API key from OpenAI or XAI or Google Gemini or whatever. And you got to again, set up another thing, learn on your system, pay for another subscription and so forth. This is one of my favorite things about Base44. You don't have to do any of that with Base44 because it's already baked in. It's completely vertically integrated and includes all of those things out of the box so that you don't have to go and set them up in another, provider and pay for them. Obviously, they are leveraging on these other providers and technologies under the hood, but who cares, right? I don't really care about that. What I actually care is that I don't have to go and set them up myself manually. I don't have to go and learn another third-party application. I don't have to go through their documentation to set it up and to go through multiple steps and a long process and a lengthy, cumbersome, time-consuming process to get things like email sending set up in my application, or things like adding a signing with Google button set up in my application. That's already baked into Base44, which I love, and like I said, which I think is incredibly a massive differentiator that Base44 has versus all the other applications, and why, again, I am incredibly bullish on Base44. And of course, I want to contribute to Base44 to make it better, obviously that benefits the community as a whole. It also benefits myself as a user of Base44. And ultimately, I'm sure it will also help Base44 as a company grow. And obviously, if they grow and they continue to you make releases faster and enhancements, and that's going to benefit everyone, me included. And I'm going to love that, about the product itself. So definitely, I'm going to continue building with Base44. And I encourage you to give it a go, see it yourself, see what I'm talking about, see the difference, and see how different it is versus all the other vibe coding tools and applications out there, and why, like I said, you're going to really enjoy this, not having to deal with these other third-party setups and, let's say setups and payments and processes and steps, etc. Because it kind of feels a bit clunky with a lot of the other, vibe coding tools out there that you got to integrate with all of these other things. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And then there's debates on do I use this? Do I use this other thing? And I think for non-technical founders, we don't really care what's under the hood too much. What we care is the outcome, that it does what we want it to do, that it works properly, that it's seamless, that it's easy, that it's simple, and that it just works. And that's my experience with Base44, that it just works, and it has all of these other things already baked in and included, which make my life a lot easier. And that is why I am increasingly, using Base44 more and more. All right, I'll see you on the next one. Cheers. Bye.